Good afternoon and welcome to Kipax. Now, right outside the Raiders Belconnen club for this Austbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup Round 16 match. Sunday afternoon action between the West Belconnen Warriors and the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. Chris Coleman with you this afternoon. As you can see, there is a little bit of wet stuff around today. There is a chance of lightning. It's okay. We've affixed a 25-foot pole to our cameraman, so we're safe. That's not serious. That's not serious before anyone from OH&S gets involved. As you can see, West Belconnen making their way out onto the field. They're up against the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. This game is a virtual elimination final. There's a top four system in place in the Austbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup. And this afternoon we have West Belconnen, who currently sit fourth place on the table with 18 points and a points differential of plus 18, up against Tuggeranong, who have probably the easier run home. They have 16 points and a points differential of plus 2. So if Tuggeranong get up this afternoon, then we start to talk about points differential and all that kind of stuff. If West Belconnen get up this afternoon, they make it very, very difficult for the Tuggeranong side, and they will also, into the bargain, overtake Yass, who did have a loss yesterday to the Queanbeyan Kangaroos, 36-28. Yass are just 1 point on the competition table ahead of the West Belconnen Warriors. Yesterday's results, while we have the moment before the game gets underway, the Queanbeyan Blues knocked over Woden Valley 20-14. Interesting result that. Probably a bit closer than most people were expecting during the course of that game. Goulburn Workers Bulldogs, they pounded Belconnen United 54-4. That's 2 weeks in a row that Belconnen United have lost by 50 or more. And the Queanbeyan Kangaroos, as I mentioned, knocked over Yass 36 points to 28. For these sides last week, Belconnen United were 60-0 victims at the hands of West Belconnen Warriors. Woden had a 24-all draw with Tuggeranong Bushrangers, as we saw the Bushies in action last week. And so that brings us to where we are, as I said, 4th versus 5th. And the last time these sides met, West Belconnen had a 36-26 point win over Tuggeranong. For Tuggeranong, there's quite a few players missing from that lineup from the game earlier in the season, especially Bo Donovan, who scored 2 tries for the Bushrangers. Joel Ambrose was a try scorer on that occasion as well. He's not there today for West Belconnen. The last time these sides met, Sam Finnegan got a double. Connor Brebner, Tim Sloman, Chris Thorley and Luke Ashland all scored tries, and they're all out there today for the West Belconnen Warriors, who I think, with home ground advantage and with the chance to get themselves a home ground final, should they finish above Yass, I think they have probably the better motivation at this stage and probably the slightly better form. So let's see how we go. We're about to kick off 4v5, Austbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup, round 16. The Bushrangers kick off to West Belconnen. West Belconnen running from right to left on your screen. From left to right on your screen. And Connor Brebner with the first hit up of the game. Now it goes to Taniela Moa. The centre gets it up to the 30-metre line. So good yardage early in the first couple of tackles for the West Belconnen Warriors. They come across to the right. Couple of big men there. That was Ashland. And we see Tim Sloman bringing it up just to the halfway. Across to the right, Mitch Shaw. So into opposition territory. Referee puts his hand in the air. We're on to the last tackle. The kick downfield comes from Robert Roberts. Bit of a juggle from Vattabuli for the Bushrangers, but he gets it up outside the 20. I was impressed with Timothy Vattabuli last week down at Phillip. 2 away games in a row for the Bushrangers. There's Pollard bringing it up on that occasion. Tackling in numbers there, the Warriors through Ashland and Shaw and Brebner. You're going to tackle early in numbers, make sure it hurts. There's a big man, Mikey Uluakiola, one of a handful of former West Belconnen players in this Tuggeranong lineup. Now it's John Papali. There's another one of them. So Papali, Ewings, Uluakiola and Bullock, all former Warriors playing for the Bushrangers this afternoon. Kick comes from Henson, and it finds touch about 9 metres out. Maybe a few more than that. The touch judge popping the flag up at about 12 or 13 metres. As we've mentioned, calling games here at Kepax in the past, it's not the easiest part of the field for us to see from our commentary box there, as there's a bit of gantry work and a few other obstructions in that left corner of the field for us at the northern end, or western end I suppose it is more. They bring it out now to West Belconnen through Ricky Fullervite. Tory Freeman-Key, slight change to his appearance. Normally we see him with the ponytail. He's got the headband added to it this week. Haircut would be the easier option, you'd imagine. Now that's Luke Ashland. Up to the 30. So the Bushrangers up quickly in defence early in proceedings. Connor Brebner makes another 5. Interesting to see Harry Brown in the grey headgear. He's been the starting halfback in this game. There was a knock on in there. Bounced around a little bit. Human pinball going on. Bushrangers eventually pick it up and they get the start of a set in good position on the opposition 40. Izzy Afamui, 5 tries for him so far this season. Man to watch, certainly in this game. Mitchell in at dummy half, gives it to Hickson. Now it's Papali. Longish ball to Hammond. Across to Vadabuli, who I think may have knocked that on. Indeed he has. Play comes to a stop. So after having possession start in a good position, the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, they made 20 metres and then they, well, saw it all come undone. You'll see here, Papali, nothing wrong with the ball. Vadabuli just wasn't quite ready for it. So goes down, knock on, and it'll be a scrum to the home team. Harry Brown off the back of the scrum gives it to Moa. Moa taking a good tackle from Uluakiola and a couple of others. So it's definitely still feeling each other up at the moment, 4 minutes into this game. That's Sloman. This time it's Shaw. Bounces back in the tackle. Tautai. Main tackler on that one for the Bushrangers. Now it's Ashland again. A couple of those options on his outside. Would have been interesting to see if Brebner could have got that one at pace because he was moving fairly quickly. Thorley with the kick through. Chasing after it is Brown, but it's picked up off the turf by Vadabuli. Gets up over the 30, up towards the 40. McQueen trying to wrap him up. He slips that tackle. Eventually joining in is Brebner and Ashland. So again, danger man for the Bushrangers. Vadabuli, the fullback. We saw him do some good stuff last week against Woden. Now it's with Brophy. His first touch for the game, I think. They go the short side through Hammond. Turn the ball back inside through, looks like Tautai in the bottom of that pile. They come across to the right. Now it's with Ewings. Probably the most versatile player that the Bushrangers have. I think he's played virtually every position for them this season. Long ball, cuts out a couple of players, gets to Uluakiola. It's the 20-metre line. You can see him getting over now. Mitchell. Kick comes from Henson. Across the ground. And in the end, chaos ball you could almost call it. Goes to ground. And the referee's going to say, we'll bring it over. West Belconnen will get it on their own 10. And Luke Ashland already there waiting to take possession. Oh no, he's actually going to give us a scrum. So he actually has seen a knock on in there. Wasn't 100% sure of the call in there. Referee was actually unsighted to me behind the obstructions we have in the commentary box. Anyway, we're back into it. Here's Cameron Scott. That's Freeman-Key. Okay, still going. And they come across to the right. Interesting, they got on to Fullervite. Riley Thomas had it, but Fullervite, I think, might have been able to get into a bit more space. Brebner again. Up to the 40. They come across to the right now. Turn it back around on the inside from Thorley onto Ashland. Ashland bounces out of one. Ewings wraps him up in the second, just inside his own 40. Last tackle called. Do they look for the 40-20? No. Could be trouble for Thorley.
See what Muzz can dish up.
Here he is. They're up quickly. On Cook.
It's well defended.
They're 10 metres out. Murray, the orchestrator. That's him now. Running. Bumping away. So they wrap him up. The last tackle here.
Seems to let a lot of wrestle and Tommy Aylett. Seems to let.
Leading by 8. Chance for West before the break. It's play on. No, it's not. No, it's not. With 2 minutes remaining on the clock in the first half. 8-0. Has Western Suburbs been scoreless in first half in 2017?
I don't think so. I don't think so. They might need the freak out there, Jade Porter. He played with us until he was no longer required. So they might need to inject the freak.
Bit of magic.
Mate, he played outstanding today.
Yeah.
He was good.
Well, he's on the program in 19.
Yeah. A few late changes, I think. Happened on Thursday night.
So opportunity not gone here for the home side leading into half-time. As Mason heads to the gap. Still going. What a run. 10 metres away from the goal line. The crowd urging on their home side as Murray takes it to the line. Great ball. Nice tackle from the opposition on Cordner. Slowing things down. Holding down.
Probably take the 2, wouldn't you, Pete? Yep.
They're looking around and Murray says, I'm going to go for 2. And hopefully get them out to a 10-0 buffer leading into half-time. The siren's about to go in 25 seconds. So first half of football, and there's a chance to go up by 10-0 over Western Suburbs.
Might try to head into the sheds. You reckon?
All right, Dave.
Reckon Barney will let me in. Listen to what he's.
If there's ever a chance, it could be today.
Yeah, maybe.
What do you reckon?
Nah, I don't reckon. I reckon no chance. You know.
So,
could try to go in the West.
Here's the kick. It's successful. So that's half-time here after 40 minutes of the Business Plaza Cup. It is Central leading by 10-0 over Western Suburbs, who so far have only lost one competition game against Macquarie way back in the early part of this season. Matt Lantry is heading back to the sheds. What do you think Matt's got to say to the boys at half-time if you're inside the Rosellas camp, Dave?
Oh, mate, he'll probably ask for, you know, a bit more energy. Probably try to polish up a few things. Maybe work on the first contact. Dan Metcalf seems to be given a fair few, you know, nice fair little bumps on. Hi, Tim. Jeremy Smith boys walking through Central. But, yeah, mate, I think Lantry will just probably want to clean up a few things and work on their first contact to try to control Dan Metcalf.
Good stuff. Well, we'll have a look at the kids out here. This is what we're talking about. All the kids out here, Central Newcastle, Butcher Boy.
Five and a half remaining. I will say this about Quinn Cannon. He takes a lot of time to go through and then he hits the posts. But it's now West Belconnen 3. It's been stuck behind the walkway. So they've got one play. What can they do with it? Chip it over the top. Picked it up by Josh Rothney for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. And that will do us for the break. It's 14-12, the Tuggeranong Bushrangers over the West Belconnen Warriors. Tuggeranong coming into this game, 5 wins, 6 losses, 2 draws. and 16 competition points. West Belconnen coming in with 7 wins and 6 losses and 18 competition points. If this was to be our final score, then Tuggeranong and West Belconnen would both be on 18 competition points. It would be points differential keeping West Belconnen ahead. They would be on plus 16. Tuggeranong would be on plus 4. Yes, we've got the supercomputer in action here this afternoon at the Kippax Fields of Raiders Belconnen. But at the break, it's 3 tries to 2 in favour of the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, reading 14 points to 12 in the Osbreakers Canberra Raiders Cup Sunday match of the day here on Bar TV from Kippax. As you can see, West Belconnen out there for the second half. And apologies for anyone watching on our live stream for the technical difficulties that we were experiencing. Sometimes gremlins get into the system between grounds and head office, and we had a few of those apparently, so you may have missed some of the action. Rest assured, you'll be able to get the full game on replay via Bar TV a bit later on, all things being equal. What you've missed in the first half is a pretty decent first half of football. The home side scored the first 2 tries. Harry Brown with a great team try that started from inside their own 40, gave them a 6-0 lead after 7 minutes. And then 7 minutes later, a Chris Thorley try where he charged over from about 10 metres out. And Dane Ewing's got a double in the space of 3 minutes. One was from an inch-perfect kick from Henson to the right-hand corner. And then there was another inch-perfect kick to the left corner from Hammond, which took the score to 12-10. And then Quinlan Cannon scoring 5 minutes out from half-time to put the visitors in front. So that's where we've got to so far. As I said, apologies if you've been unable to watch on the live stream, but hopefully you'll be able to catch the action in replay. And let me tell you, the try from Harry Brown 7 minutes in, well worth watching, as was the try from Quinn Cannon just before half-time. In fact, I think they've all been pretty good tries here today. But let's get back to live action. Charge down on that kick from Bailey Lockhead. But the referee has ruled that Lockhead played at it. So the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, they'll get a second set here as they try to bring it out of their own half. Starting things off from there was Afamui. They come across to the right through Rothney. And it's Fetuani in the black headgear. And continuing the bench run, it's Brett Solomon up to 40 metres out. Come across to the right, Quinn Cannon. And it's with Ewings. The bench players have really made an impact for Tuggeranong here. Cannon, Fetuani and Solomon have all done good things. That's a great kick from Fetuani. Gets it down to McQueen right in the corner of the field of play. McQueen turns around, runs into the in-goal area, goes across the field sideways, and he's brought down by Wayne Bullock. Quick off the mark from Cannon. Sees the West Belconnen players wrapped up. That time it's Fullervite. Prior to that it was Scott, and now they lose the ball. And once again, I'm not sure if you can hear much of that coming through, but certainly plenty of support for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers here this afternoon. Just repeating our scenario here. At the moment, West Belconnen sit in 4th place on the competition ladder with 18 points. Tuggeranong 5th with 16 points. West Belconnen sit at plus 18. Tuggeranong at plus 2. That was coming into the game today. With the final 4 in play in the Canberra Raiders Cup this season. This game, a virtual elimination final 3 weeks out from the playoffs. Now it's Dane Ewings here. He's already got a double. He'll be looking for the hat-trick. He'd only scored 2 tries the entire season coming into today, so he's doubled his season tally. Now Wayne Bullock. Watch out to the left. They're going that way. Rothney shapes to kick, puts the ball on the ground and takes an air swing at it and runs over the top of it. So West Belconnen come up with it through McQueen. If you're wondering, is it as dark here as it looks on your TV screen? The answer to that question is it's actually darker here than it looks on your TV screen. And there's been quite a bit of rain falling as well during the first half. Not heavy rain, just enough to be annoying. That was Greenwood on that run-up. Sloman this time. The 2 11s collide. They've got an overlap. Kick comes downfield from Roberts. Easily picked up, though, by Vadabuli. He's still going up outside the 30. Loses the ball behind him, but I think the referee's going to rule it a strip. He does. Says that's been pulled out from Vadabuli's arm. Was really only holding it with one arm, and I can't necessarily say a great deal about his ball security, but then again, you've only got to be holding on to it. The laws don't say how firmly you've got to be holding on to it. So the Bushrangers get another crack. Ewings takes the tap right on halfway. In the tackle you had Harvey. A couple of others. Oh, the run is Bullock. I've been told his 11-week-old child is here for the first time at Dad's football games today. Mikey Uluakiola, when he gets up to speed, and gets the ball. It's great to watch. Fedoani loses the ball, and that'll be another penalty. There were two in the tackle there. And now Fedoani and Lockhead, a few words being exchanged, and the potential for a little bit more. Tim Sloman, the captain of the West Belconnen Warriors, comes out and tells Bailey Lockhead to just stay cool, stay calm. I like to see this. The Bushrangers, they're up by 2. They know that they need more points. 4 points is really of no more advantage than 2 to them, so they keep the play on. Solomon, now quick hands, winds up with Cannon. Quinn Cannon has a try already today. He's wrapped up right at the posts. Fedoani in at dummy half. Long ball finds Henson. Henson gives it to Ulu Akiola. Mikey Ulu Akiola going and going and going, and I think he's got the ball down. His second try of the season. The first one was pretty good at Greenway way back early in the year in a drawn game against Woden Valley. That one, though, plenty of hustle and bustle shown by him. I said before, it's great to see him when he gets the ball at full speed. He was almost stationed when he got it that time and just went and went and went and took 3 over. That's a beautiful long ball to Henson. Henson showing great vision. Got it to Mikey. Big Mikey scores one against his old club. Absolutely no problem. 18-12 the scoreline to the visitors. And suddenly the pressure ratchets up a little bit on the defending Osbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup premiers. And the conversion is successful. So the ever-changing roster of kickers for the Tuggeranong side continues, and Ewing's the man who's made the conversion there. I think he's got one previous conversion for the course of the season. So he's got 10 points for the day. Suddenly, after the West Belconnen scored the first 2 tries of the game and were looking very good, they've given up the last 4. They look to be in just a little bit of trouble. They will need to score next, or at least prevent Tuggeranong from scoring for a good 20 minutes and then set up a war of attrition down the straight. See where they can go. Akiola again, or Ulu Akiola, I should say. Give him his full name. Up over the halfway line. Last tackle here. They're across to the right with Cannon. Cannon kicks for the corner. And clean bowls Cameron Scott. Scott lets it go, and it's in the in-goal area. Now, what's happened here? Well, I'd like to see that again if we can get a very quick look at it, because Scott, I think, very nearly made a horrible mistake. He's going to bring it out to the 20 for a restart. We'll just see if we can give you this replay very quickly as it comes back. We'll worry about live action in just a moment. But he did get the ball, and I'm assuming that he had it either grounded or it was knocked away from him in a forward direction by the charging Bushrangers player. But that could have been horrible, horrible. And Troy Thompson, the West Belconnen Warriors coach, is on his perch just adjacent to us, and he's slamming his hand into the wall. He is a very unhappy man at the moment. Sloman now. Well, that'll put a smile on his face. That's a good 10-metre run. Now it's Greenwood. So that's another 10 metres. They're 25 from the target. Finnegan across to the right. Roberts. Now it's Thorley. Thorley falling in the tackle. So maybe a little slap around the top of the head. He didn't think he was held. Roberts with the kick. He goes for the skies, goes for the far corner. It's been tapped back and tapped to ground there by Tanaela Moa. Now, for mine, this could be a try. It all depends which way it's come off the hand of the West Belconnen player. and they've called it a knock-on in goal. So the ball comes out for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers to restart on the 20. Now the referee's called time off because we've got a player down over the other side. That's Mikey Uluwakiola, it is. He's down. Now, I don't know what that would be. So while that's happening, have a look at this kick. This kick comes up from Roberts. We're a little obscured here. Tapped back by, I think it was Scott. And then Moa got a hand on it. I wonder. Scott comes up, taps it back. For mine, that's a try. I know the angle's not the best here, but for mine, this comes down, it's tapped back. Maybe it's in the grounding. Maybe it's the grounding from Moa, which I don't think we get a clear enough view of, but certainly looked to be tapped back from Scott. Maybe a knock-on as opposed to a grounding from Moa. Anyway, play is back underway, and that's John Papali bringing it up for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. They come across to the right with Solomon. Tuggeranong can afford to play just a little bit more clinically now. They don't need to take as many risks. Cannon with the kick. His kicking has been dangerous. It gets around McQueen. McQueen, however, can grab hold of it just inside the field of play. Bounces out of a tackle from his opposite number. But Abuli didn't look like he enjoyed that too much. Nothing sinister in it, but good effort from McQueen. Now that was Scott taking it up outside the 10. Riley Thomas hasn't been as busy as he would like today. Now Ashland. Short ball to Freeman Key. Freeman Key loses his grip on it. Gets a little bit of assistance here. Now the request coming from Troy Thompson of his troops to build pressure. Thorley with the kick. Gets it up to the 30. Well, if you're going to build pressure, 6 tackles from the 30 is probably a fairly decent place to start. Thorley gets another go. Now Ashland. Luke Ashland bounces out of the first tackle. Holds on to the ball. He dispenses a facial, tries to hang on to the pill at the same time. Now it's through hands short of Finnegan onto Greenwood. 2 in the tackle, make it 3 in the tackle. Greenwood goes to ground and he gets a facial. Tit for tat down there at the moment. Finnegan in a dummy half, gives it to Shaw. Mitch Shaw, still going, the big man. 7, pushed back to 8 metres out from the line, right in front of the posts. They come across to the right. It's put to the ground by Roberts and having to dive back on it as one of his teammates. The referee's going to say that Roberts didn't just put it down, he put it down with a slightly forward direction. So it'll be a scrum feed going to the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. Well inside their own territory, but we've got 28 to go. Amazingly enough, it was less than 20 minutes of playing time for Tuggeranong to go from 12-0 down to 20 to 12 up. They're actually going at better than a point a minute between the 27th and 46th minute of the game. They added 20 points. For Mui to Henson. Henson gets it across to Pollard. Haven't seen a lot of Pollard today. We haven't needed to. All the work being done by the forwards and off the bench. Not Papali, Uluwakiola. Doesn't quite look himself. He's bent over double again. Just wonder how much more game time he's going to get today. We saw him down injured before. He scored a try. He's a man they will need as the season progresses, if it is to progress. And, well, what can you say about that? Not a great deal. I really don't know what to say about that. The Commonwealth Games aren't on the Gold Coast until next year, but if Fedorani wants to try out for the Lawn Bowls in that, then he should send a video of that to Lawn Bowls Australia. That was pretty ordinary. So it goes back to the Warriors. I don't like to talk down stuff, but gee, that was ordinary. Let's just get back to the play, shall we? That's Lockhead in at dummy half. As Finnegan gives it to Greenwood. Greenwood still pushing and still pushing. They won't go down without a fight, these Warriors. If they can score in the next couple of minutes, they're going to get a really exciting last 20. Need something special from Thorley, perhaps, or Ashland. He's one of the busiest players out there for the Warriors, is Luke Ashland. They come across to left. Roberts, dummies, gets to the 20. Last tackle called. Now it's McQueen, back inside. Shaw, flattened, potentially a shoulder charge. Finnegan with the kick, comes across. It's put down by Fullerby. Now he's asking for why he wasn't called tackled in the air. Earlier in the piece, Shaw was potentially put down by what could have been a shoulder charge. It was more front on for mine than shoulder, but certainly seen them called. Let's have a look at this. Oh no, there's a shoulder, definitely a shoulder in there from Solomon. He was forward, he was front on, but he dropped the shoulder into him. And yeah, Fullerby, well, he I think also potentially has some grounds to ask, why not me, sir? Instead, it's a scrum feed to the visiting side, the Bushrangers, on their own 10. Ewings, third man off the scrum, gets the ball. Interesting that he's wearing the 11, but I don't know if we've actually seen him in a scrum all day, Ewings. Numbers mean very little in rugby league these days, don't they? Tautai taking his time to get to his feet. I don't think you like that tackle much, and just limping a little bit. We'll keep an eye on him. Ewings again. Reminder that he is on the search for a hat-trick. Tautai still down in back play, by the way, and in the hands of the trainer. This wide shot might show you that, if depends which way they go. Now they're going further away. You can just see him just getting up in the corner of that wide shot as play continued. Now this is Cameron Scott. Had a little juggle on the catch of that kick downfield, but does well to get it up outside the 40. Could have been a penalty for interference as he was trying to get up there. West Belconnen, I think, could just be starting to feel a little bit aggrieved. It's very hard to maintain focus when you start to feel things going against you. Greenwood. Here goes Greenwood. Aiden Greenwood, he needs some support. If he can get someone to offload to, and he had him coming to in Ryan McQueen. He didn't see him coming, and now they get the penalty. It's been coming. There's been a couple of play the balls where they've had interference, where the players have been tackled or held down. So they've got a set of 6 from 25 out. Make it 15 out as Shaw goes straight up the middle of the park. Over on the right is Ashland. Thorley. Now it's with Thomas. Coach not happy. They're 5 out. Ashland again. And Shaw again. Needed someone to give it to. Goes for the line. Oh, has he managed to get that down? No, he's lost the ball over the line. Well, he's lost that over the line. Lost it forward. It's been picked up by, I think it was Vatabuli, it was. And they've called it. Oh, okay. So no real advantage for the Bushrangers there, being picked up by Vatabuli. So with it being lost forward in the in-goal area, it comes back to the 20-metre line for a restart. Approaching the midpoint of the second half here. We're now 45 minutes since West Belconnen last troubled the scorers. You can't say it's been a game of 2 halves, but certainly the first 20 minutes, West Belconnen were the better side. And then it was as though there was a switch, a flick of a switch, as we've seen Uluwakiola give it to Cannon. Quinn Cannon wrapped up head on by McQueen in the tackle. Probably necessary because there wasn't a lot behind him at that stage. Papali, long ball to Brophy. Brophy brought to ground by Scott. They run the short side again through Hammond inside the 20. Brophy into dummy half. We've got Tautai looking decidedly slow in back play. On the charges, Papali gets the ball over the line. He puts it down, he scores, and now troubling times for the West Belconnen Warriors. That makes it 24-12 with a kick to come. Papali got that on the 20-metre stripe. He got through 1, 2, 3 tackles and nearly took a fourth over with him. You see him here. I don't think you can really say much about Ashland's effort, but Shaw and Roberts and then Sloman dragged over, and I think McQueen was the final piece in the puzzle. So John Papali with just his second try for the season, and that's been the amazing part for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. Largely, they're unheralded players who haven't scored a lot of tries. You know, they've got Tautai who scored 7, Pollard scored 11, Afamui scored 5, Brophy scored 4 in that back line. But the tries have come today. Papali is second for the season. Ewings, his third and fourth for the season. Ulu Akiola, his second for the season. Quinn Cannon, the exception there, he got his 6th today. 60 minutes gone. You can see it's Ewings lining up for his second conversion. Pretty ordinary looking kick, but it gets over. And now that is 5 tries in a row to the Tuggeranong Bushrangers after they trailed 12-0 after 13 minutes. They now lead 26-12 with 20 to go. The message has gone down from Troy Thompson, the West Belconnen coach, to just complete our sets, and he will be absolutely livid. Well, they've got away with that. They've flirted with danger, gone for the short kick-off, nearly made a hash of it. Fortunate bounce and a knock back for them has meant they've got the ball, and I can tell you also, John Tautai for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers is down, and I reckon he's done a shoulder. I reckon he's done a shoulder because they've got him down well out of place. So there's only 12 in the defensive line. Play will continue for a minute or two here, probably until the end of this set. So a numerical advantage through circumstances you don't necessarily want to see. And now finally they've called a stop to play as they've rolled Tautai onto his back. And I'm sure I heard him yell in pain when they did so. I don't know what happened to him. It was in amongst that confusion off the back of the short kickoff where there was a ball bouncing around all over the place, players running into each other, and it certainly looked from the way Tautai was lying on the ground. Well, originally I thought it might have been a shoulder the way he was lying, but it might actually be his leg. Now looking at where the trainer is looking, but it's probably too far back for us to check out what happened there. Like I said, I honestly don't think the video is going to show us much. Tautai, helping him to his feet, he's gone for the day. Well, it's the knee that he's got the brace on. That is disappointing. There's a man who scored 7 tries this season for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. Seen him do a lot of setting up in attack today. Hasn't threatened the stripe himself, I don't think, but you never like to see a player get injured, good, bad or otherwise. So West Belconnen back to 13 on 13 now. I don't know who's come on for the Bushrangers in defence. As you can see, they're right on the line there. I think that's Sloman with the ball. It was. They push it, they give it across to Greenwood, who is unmarked, unopposed, and now has a try next to his name in the scorebook. I think it is fairly safe to say that that was a much needed try for Aidan Greenwood. If you do the simple things in this game, and coming up far too quickly out of the line was Dan Hickson, and he puts his hand up immediately and says, you'll see him there just to the right of screen, as soon as the play of the ball comes, he heads up. I think he was looking for the intercept, which, yeah, that's good in theory, but when you've got, Aidan Greenwood standing there, you need to be in front of him, not behind him, if you're going to get the intercept. So 16 points to 26. Still plenty of time left in this one. As the kick comes. And Rob Roberts gets his third conversion of the day. So it's an 8-point game with 17 minutes remaining. Last week on Bar TV, we had an 8-point game with 13 minutes to go, and we ended up with a draw. I'd be very, very surprised if we saw that today. So West Belconnen have been able to just put a doorstop in the way of the timber, prevent the door from slamming in their face. Still got plenty of work to do. Slightly high tackle there. Ashland's a no-nonsense kind of player, so perhaps he didn't do himself too many favours. Over halfway. Brown, who started the scoring in this game, lengthy time on the bench. Shaw to Sloman. Sloman heads outside. And the dummy half goes Lockhead. It's a 5/8 Roberts, puts the kick across field. Underneath it, Fullerby taps it back inside. Thorley with a secondary kick forward. Now this is bouncing around all over the place, and Vatabouli allows it to go over the sideline. We've lost the corner post as well. The ball goes over the sideline in the end goal area, and we will get a restart from 20. Ewings takes the tap to restart it, and he makes 12 metres. He had no right in the world to make there. He probably should have been wrapped up after 4 of them. Makes an extra 8. They're showing plenty of bustle in attack, this Bushrangers side this afternoon. That's Rothney. Uluakiola towards the halfway line. I get the feeling that the Bushrangers really want to play this game down the other end of the field. They don't want to be defending in long swathes on their own line. That is Feduani still going and still going. It's almost as though he went invisible at some stage there, and no one in the defence could see him. He just kept going. Papali now. No chance you'll miss him with that hairdo. It's the 20-metre line being encroached on by Henson. Henson puts the kick up into the corner. Fullerby flew for it, couldn't take it. I think it was Thomas who did the cleaning up. Fullerby comes to the dummy half. Now it's the fullback McQueen. Up over the 20. And again, a bit of mucking around in the play of the ball. Rothney getting in the way. Now that penalty kick did not go into touch. Vatabouli, smart, saw it. Now he's got to get around Thorley, and he gets around Thorley. Next target for him to get past is Brown. Brown gets him with a bit of help. But again, it's a good starting point for the Bushrangers. On to Papali. He pushes and makes another 10. Once again, the Bushrangers in the attacking half of the field. Across to the right they go through Cannon. Now back to Hickson. 35 out. Feduani in a dummy half. Papali again. His second involvement in this set. Slow him up to get up. Long ball. Give it to Henson. Long ball from him to Afamui. Afamui bounces out of 1, a second and a third. Slung to the ground by Shaw with a bit of help from Ashland in there. Potential for interference on the play of the ball. Now that's bounced off a West Belconnen player, and it has been called as played at. Don't know if I agree with the call, but it has been called that. So it means now that the Bushrangers, they could be in position to really almost wrap this one up. There's 13 minutes to go. They've got 5 tackles, and they're right on the stripe. Cannon looks left, looks right, goes right. Finally wrapped up 2 metres out. Vatabouli into dummy half, goes himself, looks for the line, tries to burrow his way under. He's got 3, 4, 5 players in front of him. They've got numbers to the right. They give it to Ewings. He's got 2 for today, and he's held up. So he'll bring it back to the 10-metre line after the third tackle. Referee calls time off. So 12 minutes and 18 seconds remaining on the game clock. See if we can get our on-screen clock, which, as we say every week, is unofficial. It's just a guide for you. We'll see if we can get that to marry up a little bit more closely. So the clock is actually running as the kick comes from the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, and it's picked up off the ground. I think it was McQueen in there. It was. Now Scott runs across field. There's still plenty of time left here. Still heaps of time left for West Belconnen. Of course, the first part of that equation, though, is they can't allow Tuggeranong to score again. So West Belconnen need more possession. Ashland brought to ground by a couple. Kick comes from Roberts. Puts it towards Pollard. Pollard lets it bounce once. It's not going to go over the sideline. And it's not going to go into the in-goal area. So Pollard does have to make a run. There's Vadabuli. Coach Troy Thompson for the Warriors not happy. He wants his side to play the full set out. They've kicked early on that last set. He's very annoyed with it. And again, Tuggeranong just taking their time. Every second that milks off the clock makes it that little bit harder for their opposition. Rothney again. They bring it up through Solomon. He gets the offload to Fetawani. Last tackle is the call. Kick comes down to the corner. Now, McQueen will pick it up in the in-goal area. He's got plenty of space. But where is the gap? Is there one? Good defensive line. Now it's with Ricky Fullerby. Fullerby gets around one, gets around a second. Treats Quinn Cannon like a speed bump before he's wrapped up by Fetawani. And Brophy loses the ball in there as well. Gets the penalty. How many metres will Roberts try to crib here? Plenty is the answer. Kicks it from inside the 30. The kick puts them into opposition territory, and Connor Brebner, who's just come back on, he gets it up to the 40. Through hands, a terrible ball from Ashland towards Shaw. That was a very ordinary ball, and Freeman Key wound up picking it up, but gee, that was just... Well, I've just heard the word come through from outside the box. That was embarrassing, and really it was. It wound up bouncing forward, and then Freeman Key, not thrilled with the call that he's knocked it on. He didn't pick it up smoothly, didn't pick it up cleanly. The referee's a lot closer than you, me, or our camera. And there was the hint of a knock-on in there. And again, the Bushrangers, they're just taking all the time in the world. West Belconnen, you know, they've wasted, this is 20 seconds that's been wasted. They finally get everyone into the scrum. That 20 seconds could be important at the end. You don't see that too often. The big push from West Belconnen. Was I watching rugby union for a second there? You don't see that too often. Scrum went down. Bushrangers picked it up off the back, and play continues. Fetawani to Uluakiola. As I tell you, it's hard to pick Fetawani and Cannon from each other when they're both going full tilt. Very similar body types. Very similar black headgear. Fetawani at the moment's got a couple of tufts of hair sticking out the top of his helmet, which makes it easy. That's him there. Now to Papali. And there you can see Quinn Cannon right in front of him. But instead it's Fetawani to come into dummy half again. Long ball. Henson puts an ugly wobbling bomb up. Underneath it is Ryan McQueen. He's equal to the task. Got past the chaser in Ewings before he was wrapped up by a couple of the Tuggeranong defenders. 7:50 left in this game. 14 points the difference. So it's really getting to the stage where West Belconnen do need to score. It's Cameron Scott. Just seems to be at this stage a little bit more urgency about the men in the white shirts than the men in the two blues. This is better. Shaw still pushing. 5 and last, says the referee. Brown across to the middle. Roberts, his kick bounces off Feduani. Now, what's the call going to be here? Diving on it is Brophy. Well, it won't matter what the call's going to be because it's now a Tuggeranong ball. Rothney picked up and dumped in the tackle in very quick fashion by Freeman Key. He's okay. Gets up. Vadabuli in at dummy half. Gives it to Henson. Henson finds Uluwakiola over the far side of the ground now. It's Afamui. Afamui still going to the 20. He's wrapped up there. They come across to the right. Uluwakiola again. Tries to get up to speed. Can't do it on this occasion. Wrapped up by 3. Over to the right with Solomon. Solomon still going. 5 metres out. Last tackle. Repeat set here. Would be, well, that's been kicked forward and then kicked back and then sent dead. So it was kicked forward by Henson, kicked back. I think it was Roberts on the ground in there. Not entirely sure. And then sent dead by Ryan McQueen. So let's see, the little kick from Henson. It was actually Brown in there who kicked it back, and McQueen does the cleaning up. And he tries to, well, I know what he was trying to do, trying to get the ball back for them. And then they could work it downfield. I don't know whether that was the right tactic. It's gone horribly awry. It's gone out over the sideline, having not travelled 10 metres. Surely it would have been better to go for the long ball on the line drop out into opposition territory and then try and wrap it up. Now we've got a clock stoppage here at 5 minutes and 28 seconds remaining. Well, 5 minutes 27. So we've got 1 second the difference. That's good. That's as good as we'll get it between the official clock and the unofficial clock. While Dane Ewing steps up to take. Well, he kicked. You've got to love this. He's on the verge of tripling his points tally for the season. As he gets the penalty. So, for mine, Ewings today has 2 tries, two conversions and a penalty. For a bloke who'd come into the game with 2 tries and 1 goal for the season, he's doubled his try count and quadrupled his goal count. 18-28 now the score. And Ewings, well, he's in everything. He'd be close to the man of the match, would be my guess. And now it really is to the point where Tuggeranong can just slow things right down. They don't need to do anything fancy. Yes, they could give up 2 tries in 5 minutes, but somehow I can't see it happening. I just know how they can hold on to it. Now that is Josh Rothney. No, it's not. Rothney was the player before it, and the headgear came off. And now it's on. And, well, Papali races in for no good reason. Now that, for mine, deserves at least a spell in the bin. He's come running in for no good reason. This fight's going to peter out to nothing. Bit of push and shove going on. Referees blowed the whistle a couple of times. Now we've got time off. Right, so let's see what happens. While that's being looked at, let's see what this is all about. So the headgear was whipped off of one of the Tuggeranong players, and I still don't know who it was who brought the ball up in at the bottom of the pack. A little bit of a facial comes in there. And John Papali, I think you might be in trouble, son, because that is contact with both hands to the head of an opponent. And if you are staying on the field for the rest of the game, you will count yourself very, very lucky if you don't get some time off I think you might also count yourself very, very lucky. So Ewing's the captain now for Tuggeranong. Must be. He's copying the dressing down, and it's a straight send-off. Can't say I'm surprised by it. I really can't say I'm surprised by it. And rather foolishly, John Vapali is gesturing to supporters on the sideline. He has also made a couple of gestures to a couple of opposition players on the way off. I can't imagine that that's going to endear him to the authorities on, well, what Tuesday night, Wednesday night, whenever the authorities decide to have further conversation about it. I can't imagine that that's going to go over terribly well. So it's 13 on 12 for the last 4 and a bit minutes. It just jemmies the door open a little bit for the home side. Vadabuli picks it up inside his in-goal area, makes it up to 10, and is driven into the turf by Connor Brebner. And now he takes his time to get up. We're going to see a lot of that, I'd reckon, in the next 4 minutes. There'll be no one in a hurry to get up for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. I'll be very surprised if we see too many passes being made like the one we just saw in the middle of a tackle as well. Rothney absolutely flattened by Thomas and Thorley. Uluakiola, 12 metres out. And again, takes 3 of them to bring him down. I don't know what the Tuggeranong players are calling for. They'd be better served just playing the game. Worry about talking to the referee later. Get a debrief after the game. Now, this is the last tackle here. This could be trouble. They've got to get rid of the ball, or they've got to go all the way. Well, they haven't got rid of the ball. There's a chance to go all the way here because that's Izzy Afamui. He gives it to Quinn Cannon. Cannon offloads to Fedawani. Shut the gate. Horses bolted. Game is over. Well, on the last play, sometimes you've got to do the unexpected. When you're 10 points up with 3 minutes on the clock in a must-win game, the obvious thing is to try and find the sideline or kick it downfield. Never to do this. Afamui just pushes off one, and suddenly the gaps are there all over the place. He outruns just about everyone, gives it off to Quinn Cannon. Cannon to his almost identical twin in Sateki Fedawani. And Fedawani, I can't say I've seen much of him this season, if anything of him this season. And now he's got another try, or he's got to try his first one for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers for the season. And with 2 and a bit minutes left on the clock, this one's dusted. And it has a massive impact on the point standings. I'll try and give you those in just a moment because as things stand, Tuggeranong will now have themselves into the top 4. They'll have a points differential that has bumped from +2. Well, assuming this one's about to be converted by Ewings. So that'll make it. There we go. He gets that over. So 34 points to 18. So that means that we've got basically a reversal here of the points differential. West Belconnen started the day at +18. They go to they'll be +2. And Tuggeranong started the day at +2. They'll go to +18. And both sides will be on 18 competition points with just a couple of rounds left to play. I'm still gobsmacked by that try from Fedawani. It's the cliche to say it came from nothing, but it did come from absolutely nothing. Started with Afamui in their own half. Well, back to play we go. And suddenly, I think everyone's decided enough is enough. We're into the last minute. And the Bushrangers, well, they live to fight another day. Brophy gives it to Rothney. Rothney takes his time. 36 seconds left on the clock. Now it's with Solomon. Last tackle. 28 seconds remaining. We won't see him do anything silly again, will we? That was amazing. Henson just kicks it for the sideline. And with 20 seconds remaining, I don't think there's any great urgency from anyone to pack the scrum. In fact, I've seen Chris Thorley and Sateki Fedawani shaking hands right on the stripe. No one's going anywhere near the scrum, so that'll do us for the day. 34 points to 18 the score. You will hear the siren in 1 second. And it blows, and does it blow away the West Belconnen Warriors' chances of defending their premiership for 2017? Well, time will tell. They've got a tough one next week. And we talk about must-win fixtures. Well, they come up next week against the Queanbeyan Blues right here at Kippax, the undefeated Queanbeyan Blues. Tuggeranong have a considerably easier task. They're up against Belconnen United. They host that game at Greenway, and Belconnen United, well, they've been belted in their last 2 games by 50 points or more. So, to recap this afternoon, we saw the first 2 tries of the game to the West Belconnen Warriors. They led 12-0 after 13 minutes, but from then it was pretty well all one-way traffic, with tries to the Tuggeranong Bushrangers in the 27th, 30th, 35th, 46th and 60th minutes before West Belconnen pulled one back in the 63rd. That took us to an 18-26 scoreline, but a penalty and then that late remarkable try to Sateki Feduani saw the final score 18 points to 34. Try scorers this afternoon for the winners. Dale Ewing's got 2 tries, 2 conversions and a penalty. Papali a try, Uluwakiole a try, Feduani a try, Cannon a try, and a conversion also to Josh Mitchell. For the losing side, for the West Belconnen Warriors, it was tries to Aidan Greenwood, Harry Brown and Chris Thorley. 3 conversions to Robert Roberts, and let's not forget that John Papali, well, he'll have a date with the judiciary, you would imagine, this week after he was sent off with about 5 minutes remaining. But after a very intriguing first half, it was a runaway success for the Bushrangers in the second half. They picked this one up 34 points to 18 at Kippax, and they move into the top 4 on the Austbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup table.